Hey, everybody. So listen, this reading, again, I don't really have a purpose or a name for it because it's an unexpected reading. I didn't anticipate doing this one today, but it was chosen for us by, of course, my dog. So quick message, FYI, my dog gets to my cards sometimes because he's still in that puppy phase. He's 9 months old. And I had actually just in the last 48 hours started rearranging my office space and creating a very safe little area to keep all my decks in so his little hungry puppy teeth can't get to things. And there's only 1, 2, 3, like 5 decks that don't have their own special compartment now that'll keep them safe. And so it's kind of a surprise that he got to these cards. So anytime my dog gets to cards, I always do a reading based off of what he pulled for us. And this was unique because I'll show you. So he got to these first 2 cards. He went on a bit of a rampage. Okay. So he got to the Ace of Wands, which is passion, which is somebody is reaching for something. What I think is interesting is that they are climbing up this edge of this log and they're reaching for something up in the sky, but it's more like they're making an offering. They're handing this torch up to the sky, more as if they are connecting, having a conversation with something from the universe. Okay, so we begin with a passion, and someone is more or less offering themselves and asking to have guidance for their passion, for something to be ignited. That's the way I see this. Now, obviously, we see a masculine here, and this is somebody, anytime I see someone depicted without clothing on, that's because we're talking about being very vulnerable. We're talking about the most raw, most powerful, most authentic version of ourselves. Next to this is the 2 of Wands in the reverse. Somebody's asking for guidance. This 2 of Wands, this is somebody ready to go ahead and make a decision and go a certain direction. I feel, and these cards are quite damaged actually by my dog. He punctured these, and so they were very selected. Okay. And I thought those were the only 2 cards that he got, and I was wrong. And then I was wrong another time too. So hold on, because this reading is a kind of a potent one. So there is what it appears to be a masculine. Doesn't have to be, we can just be talking about the divine, but someone is connecting with their it's like they're making a telephone call to the universe and saying, guide me, because I need to do this, but guide me, give me the strength to do this, light the way for me. I feel like this begins with a plea to the universe, like, show me how to be this vulnerable, give me a sign that this is the right thing for me to do, that I'm supposed to do the thing that I'm being guided to do. What's interesting is if somebody has that much power to do something in the first place, I guess I would think that is the guidance, but someone is still checking with the universe, asking the universe, show me that this is right. At this point, I am like totally laid bare. Like, let me know that this thing I'm about to do is the right thing. Let me know that this is the right choice. So the next deck that my dog got to, and what is so very interesting, and I need to show you all 3 of these together all at once, is that what I saw him run off with was just this card first, okay? So this is all about fearless love. So this second deck is the African Goddess Rising. And so I thought he only had this card. And then as I wrestled that away from him, he reappeared, and now he had this card, which is Radical Rebirth, okay? And then I said, where are you getting these? And I came into my office, and what I discovered is that there was still this card that he had not selected, though it was laying right underneath my office space. This is all about grief. He didn't choose grief, which I think is extremely interesting. So at this point, I thought, okay, I've got to do a reading about the goddesses. Well, hold on, because he came back a few moments later, and this time, I did not know how many he had. He had tucked these into a little nest, kind of folded up on the edge of the couch, and I was unaware that he had done this. So he was kind of revealing to me oh, mama wants her cards back. Oh, maybe I should give them all back to her. And I'm just very shocked that he had such a row of these. So let me go ahead and explain this reading. He didn't choose to add grief in. Okay. And all the rest of this is all about the goddesses speaking. So first off, we have the power of somebody stepping into the idea of being fearless when it comes to love. This card carries the greatest weight with it to me. He didn't really injure this nor any of the rest. He just carried these others around in a cluster. But this card obviously was very, very, very much selected. And anytime he takes a bite out of something, I always interpret that as time has been lost, and we have taken a chunk out of what we could have had we been fearless a little earlier on. We could have already enjoyed like a full card's worth. So there is a passage of time. There has been some lost opportunity here for sure. But it's not that significant, right? He ate only pieces of this, and fortunately not the most significant pieces. What I would say is, because he bit part of her feet, I would say someone has been dragging their feet. Someone's been very, very, very slow. They've thought and thought and thought, and always on the periphery of their mind, they contemplate things. This is card number 25. So maybe it's been, maybe it's been 2 years and 1 month, right? Maybe it's 25 months. I'm not sure, but that seems to be a pretty profound card to start with, because it is the most significantly damaged. Now, this is the card, though, that I want to talk about, because he didn't hurt this one. And this is one that I had to chase him around the house to get back from him. I know it sounds like I have a really bad dog. He's actually wonderful, except for these things. So this is card number 5. But most importantly and most powerfully, this card about radical rebirth. There's a story where in 1840, this woman channeled this ancient lion spirit, and that lion spirit had been known as grandmother Nehanda. So that's the name given to this, because it's as if she were embodying this lioness spirit. This is from the Shona people. And so this individual who's channeled this powerful ancient spirit was known as a healer, and was also known as a fierce resistance fighter to colonial oppression. And so it is very much about rising up against what is wrong, taking back one's power, knowing that you deserve to be free and independent and a sovereign individual. And I love the fact that it carries with it this really 500 years of history, and it carries with it this incredible personal power and personal sense of freedom and dignity and grace, and all of the things that are maybe the finest parts of the human spirit. But it also comes from these lions first. It's a really powerful card, and it's all about rising up to take back one's sovereign choices. So someone is finally at this point where perhaps they are breaking free of oppressive thought processes, or moving forward in some area of their life, and standing in such a huge amount of their personal power, their power to choose what is right for them. So all of this has to do with being fearless so far. Now we're talking mostly all about love here, but this card also brings with it a sensation of breaking away from anything, chains that hold someone back, anyone else trying to impose their will upon another free person. Like, this is a very powerful and beautiful reading. And I don't know, that one just gave me chills. And then the fact that he didn't choose grief. Grief was just under my desk laying there. Yet these first 3 cards were the ones that I was suddenly aware that, my dog had become entangled with. There's no grief, though. He didn't choose that. So then let's jump over to that final line up. So the rest of these cards, he kept balanced in his little jaws just beautifully. All they are is a little bit spitty. Well, there's a little scrape of his teeth on this top one. Soul forgiveness. Brazen. This is powerful. It's time to level up. This is all of these goddesses. Joy about this next new beginning. Worthiness, resistance, and creativity. So here's the thing. I feel like this message is for multiple people involved here, okay? So someone is asking for guidance to go down the road that they already know that they want to go down. In asking for that guidance and receiving it, it is allowing someone to be fearless. It is allowing someone to bring in that sense of personal power. Now we have a situation that I think is affecting both the divine masculine and the divine feminine with a reading like this. Perhaps, and it would stand to reason that if both of them feel each other's energy, it would make sense where if one is finally seeking the guidance, accepting the guidance, breaking down, becoming strong enough and vulnerable enough to say to the universe, light the way toward the thing that I know I want. I need the courage to go after what I want. I need the courage to be fearless. I've wasted time. I haven't moved forward. I've spent a lot of time knowing that there's someone waiting for me, something wonderful, and I haven't reached out for it because I got waylaid by my own fears, maybe my own worries. This is all about personal power. This is about rising up. And I feel like, I don't know if there's been one person has been, wishing for another person to be strong enough to stand up, because she instilled power in others, right? Grandmother Nehanda was able to actually instill power and strength in people to stand up and regain their freedom. So this is a pretty powerful reading because there is something at work here. But I also feel like even if the power of the feminine energy, because this is a goddess deck, right? So divine feminine energy, there may also have been that same energy flowing and inspiring the divine feminine. For some reason, I am looking at this because this is a grandmother spirit. I'm looking at this card as our most significant. This is the person who is, or the portion of the universe that is influencing perhaps both the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Stand up and become who you are meant to be. You are not meant to be a version of a human that someone else has told you you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be exactly who you are. And you notice that we have two lions here. And I feel like this grandmother energy is influencing both individuals here. And it is all about standing up to be your own independent person who makes choices for yourself. This radical rebirth, I feel like both the divine masculine and the divine feminine have needed to go through a rebirth. Now, I'm not talking about genders in this at all, okay? This is only about energy flow. So the part that like the time to grieve is over, there's nothing to grieve over, nothing at all. This has all been part of a journey. And if you notice that radical rebirth, we have a pregnant individual here on the grief card. That's why we don't have to grieve. Also, we go from, he didn't select these cards in any particular order, right? So we had card number 25, card number 5, and then card number 29 that was not selected as grief. And I just feel like because we're going through a rebirth, that's why we don't have to live in a state of grief. Any time that was wasted or lost with people not going out and finding one another and having the life that they want to live, the happiness that they want to enjoy, there's nothing to be sad about with any of that, because we have a new opportunity with this rebirth. We don't have to have grief over this. We're going to be born anew, and that's happening in the now. So soul forgiveness is a really important part of this, though. This is when we go through the rebirth, this is what we shift into. Soul forgiveness, forgiving each other, forgiving one another. I feel like this reading is so encouraging to forgive a past partner that hurt us. But here's the thing. Whoever it is that may become your perfect harmonious match may or may not be the same person that hurt you. This could be that someone else has gone through something similar and they too are going through a rebirth cycle at the same time that you are, influenced by grandmother Nehanda, just as you are. By the way, Zimbabwe could be important because the grandmother Nehanda is associated with Zimbabwe. But there is this really powerful, really potent energy where you and another person are both like engaging in this soul forgiveness, forgiving a soulmate who had wounded you, or forgiving one another. That's really exciting. And now, as soon as you go through the forgiveness, we get into the good stuff. Okay, so we do the work, right? We surrender grief, we forgive, and now. Now we get sassy. Now we get foxy. Now we get a little sexy. Now we are standing there proud of who we are, confident in our body, confident in the fact that we are lovable and attractive. Now we get to the part where, yeah, brazen, you better believe it. And that's where, when we feel sexy, confident, and powerful, it's amazing that immediately after that, that's where we're leveling up. You see, we go from kind of like flaunting to also showing dignity, backbone, strength, knowing what our worth is. This is absolutely probably one of the most incredible readings, and I didn't even shuffle the cards. We move into this joy. Leveling up to me also means that this could be going into a very powerful commitment, one where it is a significant, this could be a card that leads down the road of marriage. This could be the card that leads to that mature relationship. So we go from, finding ourselves, becoming free enough to have that rebirth, to releasing grief, to going through forgiveness, to then embracing our sensuality, and then embracing the fact that I am all of those things. I'm a sensual being. I'm a powerful being. And I also want to be in a powerful commitment. And what would give me the greatest joy is to actually give birth to something. In this case, it is a child. So maybe some of you are ready to have a child. This is it's like quite a divine little bambino. I mean, all babies are divine, right? But this is particularly important because we see all the phases of the moon, and the moon is golden, that surrounds the crown of her head. This is, you can even see that it's like this vortex of power that is shining down around her. If there is a child, what a divine and beautiful little human the two of you will create. But this could represent anything that we nurture. It does not have to be a child. But for some of you, it may be that a relationship steps up into marriage. It steps into creating a child. Worthiness. This is, I feel like it's a deepening bond where two individuals see one another in their value. And that in turn, when you know that your partner values you, I feel like if anything, it promotes each individual to step up even further, if that makes sense. When we are admired by someone, if someone is looked at as a bit of a hero, it's interesting how then they want to be more heroic. Okay. And this is in the eyes of one another. This is really seeing the worth and the power and the grace of your person, and they see it in you. The resistance here, followed by the creativity. This is actually that positive kind of resistance, is how I look at this one, only because she's standing in front of this tree of life. She's standing here with all these hands, all these arms. Every time there is resistance, even if it's between the two of you, because nothing's perfect, there's always going to be conflict. Look at what that gives you opportunity to do, to find creative solutions, to laugh through it, to actually come through times of like during time periods of seasonal change, the stresses that are put on plants can actually be a huge benefit, right? You know, they can pull different nutrients up from the soil. You know, we have to have cycles where things, well, I'm in front of a dormant time period right now with this snow scene behind me, right? So you've got this remarkable time where resistance is not always a bad thing, because exercise that we do with resistance builds more strength, more flexibility, more fluid motion, right? It's the same thing here. This is not actually a negative at all. So it actually sparks more creative solutions and creative problem solving. So the two of you may be facing, how do I say this? My image in this, if we are talking all about two people coming together in a very divine union, two people changing the trajectory of their lives and removing hurts and pains and coming together and creating a life together, whatever that means, if it's a human baby or something else. They are meant to do even more than that. They are also meant to face resistance together and become even more creative in how they solve things. This could represent two people that are going to enter into some kind of a business. You and your divine counterpart, you are business partners, or you actually are faced with like some really big issues that the world faces, and you may become a part of solutions, positive solutions. It's amazing what two powerful people, when you are clicked in, turned on, tuned in, it is amazing what the two of your brains together could actually come up with. We are talking about, like, I feel like this is a very, very special, very unique, very sacred situation where the two of you, when you're in sync and harmony with one another, the flow of ideas between you it's like a double dose of divine thought process and inspiration. And so you thrive in having different things in life to overcome together, because it sparks your creativity, and the two of you bounce ideas and collaborate with each other in a way where you actually welcome the resistance. Maybe some of you are even going to enjoy kind of like being partners, being up against the things that you're like, I want to see this change. I want to see this get better in the world around us. You know what? So do I. Let's take that on. Let's see some change happen. Some of you could do profound things in your communities, or maybe on the global scale. Whatever it is, it's very positive. It's very joyful, and it would impact many in a beautiful way. You may run a business or something that really changes hearts and minds. Something, maybe you help support the arts or other people's creativity, but I feel like you change something in the world around you. You through your love, through your energy together, you shift and change the outcome of some really important piece of humanity. It's not a small reading. I know this isn't going to be for everyone. It just is what it is. I didn't pick these. I didn't know that this was going to happen today. And so, so at this point, my little shark is napping. So he can't get to any more cards right now. And everything is like, I'm kind of like in a little wall of cards now to try to protect everything. But it is what it is. And maybe he selected a really nice message for someone out there to hear today. I don't know. But there was one other thing I want to say about this, because this is all, if we see this at the beginning of something, this hasn't happened yet in this story. This hasn't happened. So someone is currently kind of connecting with their guides, whatever that means, whatever their part of the universe is. They have to first be brave enough to be vulnerable enough to ask the universe, help guide me toward the thing that I really want. Give me the courage, give me the strength, light the way for me to do this. This is how this story begins. All of this is something that is just now happening, but the rest of this is all about the divine feminine. The divine feminine also has to be fearless in love. It's every bit as important for the divine feminine to be ready to receive. So The door has to be open in the divine feminine's heart as well to receive someone. So it's, everyone gets wounded along the way. We all go through really difficult things in life, but this reading is as much for the divine feminine as the masculine, about being fearless in love. It doesn't matter if we've been wounded before. If we tell ourselves, well, I just don't know that I'm ready for anything, okay, then you're not ready. Because this says we have to be open to it. And if we're not open to it, or if there's a question mark as to whether or not we're open to it, then we're not. So it's time to listen to this message, to ask ourselves, what is guiding me? What is leading me? What is inspiring me? Is there someone powerful in your life that inspires you to be fearless? Because that's what grandmother is saying to us here. If you have a Nehanda, a grandmother Nehanda in your life, whatever that means for you, whatever that inspiration is, to be fearless and to say, universe, I welcome that love in. I won't turn it away. I'm ready to receive that kind of love in my life. I'm not going to turn that away. I'm not going to say, well, I don't know. I'm not sure I want someone. Well, then you're not ready. But this says, find that courage, find that inspiration in your life if and when you are ready, right? Because there are times when somebody's not ready, and that's part of everybody's personal growth. But this is something that is present, and I feel like it's the most significant card. So there may be something that you just hadn't awakened to yet, to realize that maybe I've been saying words that I didn't even mean. I'm saying, oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll meet someone. Maybe I won't. No, this card says there's no maybes. This card says, rise up, be proud of who you are, know that you are worthy, know that you are a free individual with the freedom to make the life that you want, with the freedom to call in exactly the partner that you want, who's as free as you are, and the two of you can create any life that you want. There's no maybes here. So if there's a maybe in your mind, then it's true that you might not be ready for this message. But if there's no maybe in your mind, if you are hearing that message from whatever you perceive as your grandmother Nehanda, awesome. That's beautiful. So I'm going to leave that there. You guys take care. And I don't know. I didn't expect a message like this. And so I don't know even what to call this. I'm just going to put it out as it is. So